I don't even know where to start. Sometimes life can just throw curveballs and hurdles at you left and right constantly. And there's these instances where in the past couple of years, I've just wondered what is happening, what's going on, you know? And I don't want to be that type of person that always tries to, you know, be that type of person that is always thinking negatively and always questioning the things that, you know, happen. But there's these times where I keep constantly telling myself, if this is where I'm supposed to be, why do I have to keep going through these trials and tribulations to get to that point, right? So this video is going to be very transparent to a lot of that, to a lot of the things that have happened within my 20s. And by the title of this video, it should say something along the lines of I'm starting over at 29, which is the year before going into your 30s. Now, I would have never thought when I was 19, about to turn 20, that I would experience so much within the time frame of being in my 20s. And there's times where I really started to question whether I was being punished for a lot of the things that has happened within my lifespan so far, even though I have so many more years ahead of me. And there was instances where I told myself that I couldn't let myself be the one to kind of stand in my own way because of the thoughts and because of the things that I have experienced and what those thoughts kind of pointed me towards. Now, my biggest issue is that with a lot of the things that I have been through, I never wanted or never expected to have such hardship. And I think that's the reason why I'm making this video in the first place and stating this sort of thing, because I know that there's a lot of people out there that relate to starting life over. I'm tired. I'm very tired. I've been tired, but I've gotten to this point where it's gotten so extreme to where it's like, I know I have to do something different. I have to start living for myself and for the people that I love and for the people that I care about, and start changing things to make sure that I'm going for the things that I desire and for my dreams that I have. I'm gonna be very transparent when it comes to a lot of the things that I've been through. I have faced death. I've faced adversity. I've faced lost love, lost friendship, lost loved ones, and so much more. So this video is going to be going a little bit into detail of that, and I don't want to waste any time because I know that letting this out is going to be very good for me. And I'm hoping that this video can help you in some sort of way to understand that it's okay to start over. It's okay to be vulnerable, especially online. And it's okay to want to be a different version of yourself, no matter what time and no matter what place you're at. My early 20s are a blur. And the only reason that they're a blur is because of the things that I've experienced in my late 20s. When I first started, you know, growing up into my early 20s, things were so good. I was always constantly trying to grow. I was still in this very house, thinking of so many things that I wanted to prosper in the future, having my own place and trying to speak things into fruition, doing YouTube full time and having a good paying job if that didn't cut out, and so much more. And it shook me when things just started crumbling right before me. And I know many people are different when it comes to the things that they believe in and the faith that they have. But I always knew God was there, some omnipotent type of being, Jesus, who I pray to, things of that sort. I've read my Bible. I read my Bible, try to, haven't much lately because of the fruitions of my heart, which has been leaning me towards going back to it because of so much that I've been through within these past couple of years of my late 20s. And I think all of the things that have happened within these past couple of years of my late 20s is really what has pointed me to this very moment right now. Again, in my early 20s, I was living life. I was traveling. I was going to like New York City, doing like events and stuff like that. I was doing my best to kind of just put myself out there in a way that I knew would make my future brighter, you know, because you have to work towards that. You can't just be stagnant and not do anything towards that. So I was always trying to network. I was meeting people. I was going to events. I was filming videos and taking my camera with me wherever I went. And I was so proud of myself. And I felt like I was at a climax when it came to all of that. And I think that's kind of what made things the way that they are now, because of so much stuff that has happened within these past couple of years. And recently I kept telling myself and kept talking to God in a way that I didn't like anymore, because I was cursing him out. I was getting pissed off. I was angry. I was depressed. Still am depressed. But that's something that I'm always going to have to gradually work on in order to get better and have those better days and things of that sort. But what scared me was the thoughts that I was starting to have during all these trials and tribulations leading towards my late 20s, because I just felt like life wasn't worth living. Like, I kept telling God why I'm gonna try and not cry, but if I do, I do, and that's that. And I kept asking God, what am I doing wrong, you know? What am I doing wrong? What could I have done to deserve all of these things that are currently happening right now, you know? Let me get it together. And so I kept asking him, I'm like, what did I do? What do I need to do? What do I need to do to fix this? You know, because again, I was on top of the world, and coming towards 2019, everything hit the fan. And I did realize that around 2019 is when COVID hit, and COVID did change the world drastically, and it's never been the same ever since. And there's so many instances where people don't even discuss this or talk about this, but COVID changed everything. It changed everyone in the whole world. We were losing people left and right. During the same time, there was so much going on with different people, for Asian people, for Black people, and so many other marginalized folks. And it was just like, was that a wake-up call for like everything that's going on? But everything has been so dramatic and crazy ever since then. And I was on top of the world in 2019, and I think God has a way of humbling ourselves. And again, I don't know what you believe. I don't know what others, you know, what their devotion is, or if you're atheist, or if you're Buddhist, whatever. Like, you have to understand still that regardless of all that, moments in time and moments in your life shape you to the person that you're supposed to become. And that's what I kept questioning. I kept questioning God, like, what am I going to do? Like, what am I supposed to do? You know, why am I going through this? And what is that shaping me to be? I noticed that ever since then, things were just constantly being thrown at me, like boom, 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 boom. There was stuff that I wasn't starting to realize, whether it came down to my career, came down to my relationships, platonic or with people that I was dating and things of that sort. When it came down to like my friendships, my family, you know, it was just all coming at me at once. And then even then, like around the beginning of 2020, I was like, okay. I was like, things are okay. You know, we're about to hit this pandemic. Things are fine. Things are gonna be okay. And then COVID started taking people out. And I was like, wait, things are not okay. I started losing family members and friends, and I'm like, okay, what is going on? But then after that, I kind of had a little moment where I was like, okay, maybe, you know, everybody's in the house, I can start streaming. I was live streaming all the time, and it was fun, you know, because I was, you know, I wasn't working. I mean, I was working, but I wasn't working as much because we were able to get, you know, unemployment. And, you know, even when you were working like less hours, you were still getting unemployment. So I was like, I'm coming home, I'm, you know, streaming, hanging out with my friends online, you know, it was fine. And then just things started getting worse and worse. And then in 2020, that was when I took another break on YouTube. I had broke my foot. And a lot of people don't realize when stuff like that happens, it's very detrimental to your mental health, because I've never broken a bone in my body, and I should have never spoken those words out because, again, humbleness. I broke my foot and it was terrible. I was in so much pain. I couldn't walk for a cool minute. And after that, I gained so much weight too. And that affected my mental health on top of everything else. And during the same time, I was kind of trying to find new friends. I was trying to build relationships with the friends that I had and have them mingle with each other, and that sort of didn't work out. And even with those same people, I'm still, you know, certain people still have places in my heart, but there was so much drama and so much other stuff going on within that time, and within the time span of like my being 23 to like 27, and it was just too much. It was too much on my mental health, and I was like, I can't keep doing this. I was like, I cannot keep doing this. So I was like, I had to start separating myself from people and learning from those mistakes. That kind of leads up to now, where I'm at this pivotal point where it's half and half. I'm at the lowest that I've ever been, but then there's so much potential and so much things that I know are going to prosper for my future. And that's kind of why I want to start over at 29. Again, there's so many different factors that I've been researching and looking into. I'm 28 as of this video, but I will be 29 this month. I will be 29 on the 29th of April. And that's my golden birthday, which is supposed to be this really big deal. If you don't know what a golden birthday is, it's like this pivotal moment in your life where things sort of just change for you. And I didn't expect it to be starting this early, but it is. And it's crazy because I still have the time when I become 29 and the rest of this year to see what life has in store for me. But I've been researching and reading all these different things. They're like, yeah, 29 is like a big year for you. And then there's like the Saturn return, where it's like every 29 years Saturn turns back, and like it's a wake up moment for everyone, and because it's the 29 years and then I'm turning 29. It's like so many things are happening where it's like I don't know whether to be scared or whether I should just use this as something to point towards positive things going to happen within my 30s. But I've learned so much and experienced so much within these late 20s, where it's like I can never again make the same mistakes that I did to make sure that my 30s are beautiful. But these years have been hard. They have been extremely, extremely hard. And I mean, to the point where it's like, I kept saying, God, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I'm just going to end things here. I know that's a lot to say, but it's a part of people's mental health and their nature when it comes to dealing with depression and so many other things on top of it. But I've never, ever, ever took those stances and instances of actually doing those things, which I've always been so proud of myself for, because I could easily do it, but I don't want to do it because I know that there is so much more life to live, and there's so much more than just my current experiences that are bad that I'm going through. And I have to remember that there's always going to be good and bad when it comes to having life. But these past couple of years of my late 20s have been ridiculous. Like ridiculous. I have been laid off multiple times, quit jobs multiple times because of toxicity in these companies, because of crazy things from like homophobia to sexism, racism, and it's so rampant within these places that nobody really talks about it. And they don't understand that some people can handle it and they just go on with their day and make their money, but some people cannot. When you already have mental health issues, it is so much more harder to do the work that you're supposed to do, dealing with all of these things on top of it, going into an office or even working from home for that fact. But I've never had that luxury of having a remote job. I've always had either like a hybrid where sometimes if something happens, you can work from home if you're sick or whatever. But I've never had like those full instances where it's like, I was always going to an office every day or going somewhere. And the only time I really had like a semi-hybrid job was with a company that I was eventually going to get laid off anyways before I left there, because they already had discussed that, which is crazy to me, because it's like now we're in this job market that is, I don't know what this is. And this job market is making me feel less than. It's making me feel like I'm not worth anything. And that's not true. I have a great portfolio. I've done all this work. I've been on physical sets. I've done stuff with influencers that I've looked up to, that I follow, worked with companies that I've bought stuff from, and so much more. And it's like these companies chew you up and then spit you out and then don't care about you afterwards. And I told myself that the main reason I was making this video too is to have a comeback, because these past 7 months, I've been trying to interview and do that and do this. And it's like, this has always been here for me. If I can do this full time and find a community and do something that I genuinely enjoy doing and love, then that's what I'm going to have to do. And that's kind of what my mentality has been while still interviewing at places, because I have seen the success of other people who work and still do this. And then I've seen the success of people that worked and now do this. And that's something that I have to strive for, and that's something that I've always wanted. But I'm tired of feeling less than, because these companies want to make me feel that way, because they want to have me do 6, 7, 8 rounds with no feedback, and everyone's saying generic things and saying things that makes no sense on LinkedIn, and it's too much. And that stress is a killer, and I'm not gonna let that get to me any longer. But on top of being laid off and leaving toxic companies, I was dealing with relationship issues, dealing with people that I thought really liked me to end up ghosting me, dating someone else, then I find out on TikTok. So it's like, you know, it's stuff like that where it's like, what's really happening with my life right now? And that's another reason why I've been kind of single and not really dating or trying to talk to anybody, or even being on dating apps, which I've deleted most, because it's like, I don't see a point anymore. And I know people always say it'll come to you, it'll come to you. Just trust the fact that if you don't try, it'll come. But even when I didn't try, it was still a mess. So now at this stage in my life where I'm going into my early 30s, I just want to make sure that I'm going into something that's stable, strong, understanding, and it's with somebody that actually likes me for me, no matter what it is. So dealing with that, I was also dealing with lost friendships, which actually happened recently. And I still have major love for these people because we made mistakes on both ends. And I can admit that. It's hard to admit it when times are past and things happen. But I can admit there were mistakes on both ends. But I can also admit where I know I didn't do wrong, and I don't think because of that, those relationships can be mended. If things change in the future, there's still a place for them in my life, but it won't be the same. And that happens for all relationships that break up in ways that truly hurt you. Because with these friendships that broke up, it tore me apart. I was having days and nights where I was dreaming about these people, crying to sleep, asking God, like, dang, I really must have messed up. But then I started to have these realizations where it was like, no, I didn't. There's so many moments where I should have realized that things weren't the way that they used to be, and they weren't going the way that they should be. And that's with any type of friendships that you have in your life. Like, you have to really analyze them and see people for who they really are, and just hope that if they change down the line, that's good for them. But if they're not changing, you have to let those people go, especially if they're not good for you. Then all of that just comes together with the passing of my dad, which is so crazy. My dad passed away last month, and I don't know how to feel about it yet. I still have those waves and those moments where it's like, what the heck, is this a nightmare? And then I still start questioning God, like, why? Like, why right now, you know? After dealing with so much and going through so much in my life, why that? And the craziest thing is, and I had this revelation at the start of this week, literally at the start of this week. One, none of us have an appointed time. It just happens when it happens. Because there's instances where I've lost friends and family that was young. My dad was 65, so I still consider that to be young. There's people that live up to like 100, you know. But what I want to reiterate is that for Black people, African Americans, we have this huge stigma of not taking care of our health. And personally, I know my dad was not on top of his health. He had a lot of issues going on. I don't want to speak those out. I want to keep those personally to myself and to my family. But he had a lot of issues going on. So I just didn't think it would be now. You know what I mean? And in 2014, I had lost my grandmother. Now, 10 years later, in 2024, I lose my dad. So I asked God, and I mean, I prayed all day. I asked God, I said, did you do these things for a reason? And did you do these things to shape me into the person that I'm supposed to become in order to continuously lean on you? Because there were moments where I wasn't. There was years, days where I was like, I'm not gonna pray to God. I'm doing all these things on my own. What do I need to pray to God for? What do I need to pray to some being for when I'm doing all these things on my own? He has no partake in my life. And these past couple of years, let me tell you, I have been on him more than I've ever been. And when I was praying to him for that whole day, this is gonna sound crazy for those that don't have faith, but it was like a little birdie came. This is the best way that I can explain it. It's like a little birdie came and like whispered in my ear and was like, you're gonna be all right, but you have to go through these things to receive what you're destined for. Because there's so many moments where I was like, oh, I can't film. I cannot film in this house. Can't. My dad retired because he retired at an early age because of his health. He's here 24/7. He doesn't like leaving. I would tell him I'm trying to film something. He would still be loud doing whatever. I love my dad dearly, but me and my dad had a crazy relationship. He was always bothering me. Still, again, understand, I loved my father to the universe's extent, but he used to get on my nerves. He would come in my room bothering me. He would get mad saying like, I'm not even bothering you that much, but he bothered me every day. Friends, family know that he would bother me every day. And there was instances where I couldn't do this. I couldn't film and stuff like that because he was always here. I couldn't really like do certain stuff, like a whole 9 yards. And now when I was praying on the other day, when I was praying the whole day, I was like, wait, I'm starting to realize it's very quiet, you know? And it's like, I know that's something that I'm gonna have to get used to, but that quiet was something that I did ask for because I kept asking God like, oh, just bless me with a job so I can get an apartment, you know, so I can get out of this house, blah, blah, blah. But now it's just so quiet. It's so quiet. And I'm not used to it. And I love my dad and I miss my dad, but like now I have the chance to do this where I don't have to bother him. He's not bothering me doing this, you know? And I miss the bothering, you know, I miss him being in here, but it's almost like what I thought it was he left so that way he can see what I'm truly meant to be. Sorry, y'all. I had to take a breather. I'm so sorry if this video is triggering. I did not mean to. I know that this is like a wave of stuff going on right now, but yeah, that's just how I felt. And that's how I feel. And I'm done. I'm done. Done. Questioning God. If this is what I have to go through, if this is the experience that I have to have in order to have a blessed and overcoming and joyous rest of my life, then that's just what I have to accept, and I will accept that. Because the next time that I see him, I'm gonna be able to tell him all of the great things that I have done. And there's so many things that I want to do for him. There's so many things I want to do with this channel. There's so many things that I want to do in life. There's so many things I want to do in music and continue his music legacy, including winning a Grammy. I keep speaking that out into existence. You can win a Grammy at any age, and I will win it. Before I pass on, I will win a Grammy for him. But that's all just to say that I'm starting over at this very moment. I already said it earlier this week, but I'm stating it now on camera so I can have accountability, you know, and look back on this and see how far I've come. But I'm starting over. At 29, I'm starting over. I want more happiness. I want more joy. I will take the negativity. I will take the roadblocks. I will take the hardships. I will take the trials. If that is what I have to have and do in order to shape me into the amazing person that I'm meant to be. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of myself for all of the things that I have accomplished so far, and I'm proud of myself for the things that I have been through and still to be able to stand here today. But I want to refresh. It's time. It's been due time, but it's time. And if anyone else feels the same, I think that you should do it too, because these instances and these moments in our lives really do shape us. And I'm ready. Ooh, I'm ready. I'm so ready. I know that 29 is going to be good to me. I know instances have happened where in the past where I've said like, you know, this is my year, and I always say that. But now I'm kind of just taking punches with the flows. But I can officially say that this time, 29, even when there's things happening and there's hardships and so much more, 29, I'm still gonna have it be my best year before going into my next best decade. Because again, I've learned so much, I've experienced so much, and my 30s are gonna be so much more blessed and light because of the instances and the things that I've been through. And I'm just ready for new. I'm ready to be anew. I'm ready for birth. I'm ready for so many more good things to happen in my life. And I'm just ready to become the person that I know I was meant to be. And I just think it's time. And I hope you can join me on that journey, because I'll try to document it as the best that I can. But regardless of that, I really do appreciate your time. And I'll see you soon.